Okay, here we go. Week 2. So I woke up this morning knowing I needed to record week 2. And it's interesting to me because I do not want to be doing this at all today. Which when I was taking my dog on his walk around the block like we do every morning, I was thinking, why such resistance? Why don't I want to do this? And I don't know that I have a good answer. I think part of it is that in storytelling, there's a certain amount of finality to it, right? Like you tell the story because it's done. And it always makes me sad that the story of Jeremy and I together is done. But then in my head, I had this moment where I said, you're not a quitter. Don't quit this. You've tried so many times to start telling the story and have always given up. Don't give up. And, a big piece today, I think that why I'm still here telling the stories and doing the things is that y'all were so encouraging last week. I was kind of blown away by all the love and support that I got to episode 1 or the pilot episode, whatever you want to call it, that it's definitely giving me some encouragement to keep going with this. So I just want to say thank you. And I got a particular text from a student that I want to share with you guys. I had this student my very first year of teaching, so 10 years ago, and she was fantastic. I had her my first and second year of teaching, and she was just one of those students where we just got close, and we would have some deep conversations about life and dreaming big and following your dreams and overcoming those moments when life just really doesn't seem fair, right? So she sent me a text and she said, "Good morning. I listened to your first podcast episode today, and it honestly moved me so much. Hearing you talk about storytelling," I don't know why I'm emotional. Told you I would cry at some point. "Hearing you talk about storytelling and sharing your experiences made complete sense to me because I still remember being your student and how impactful your stories were. Genuinely, my favorite part of your class was always listening to you speak. Your strength, vulnerability, and perspective always stayed with me long after class ended. When you mentioned that people call you brave, but you mostly feel scared, it reminded me of Braving the Wilderness by Brené Brown, the book you recommended to me way back then, and how bravery isn't the absence of fear, but choosing to walk into uncertainty and stay true to yourself anyway. I think bravery and fear exist together. I don't think being brave means you aren't scared. I think it means continuing forward despite it. And honestly, hearing that you're going back to nursing didn't surprise me at all. You have such a nurturing nature and such a strong sense of purpose in the way you care for people. I truly think it's part of your calling, but I'm also really grateful you chose teaching for the chapter that you did because you were deeply impactful and inspiring to so many of us, including me. I'm really excited for this next chapter of your life, and I just want to thank you for everything and hope you had a meaningful birthday yesterday." And I share this, just because it is interesting to me that at different stages of life, fear and bravery just coincide in such different ways, right? I still feel really scared about some of the changes that are happening in my life. It just feels big and it feels heavy. And I think I have to keep reminding myself that that's okay, right? And I have to keep thinking of the times that I have been brave in the past and it turned out to be so good, right? And for sure, I think the first part of my story that I really showed bravery was in loving Jeremy. Loving him was the easy part, right? Choosing to follow him in his military career was the part that took a lot of bravery. And I want to take us back. So last week we talked about Jeremy and I finally going on our first date and just completely falling in love. And it was such a fun time to think about. And we really were as inseparable as we could be for being at colleges that were an hour away at that time in our life. And I couldn't help but think of two really big moments in our dating early on when I really knew I loved Jeremy and would love him always. The first was one of those Wednesday nights I was driving down to visit him at his college. And I was driving down and we were going to have dinner with a group of his friends, a group of his like ROTC cadets. And we were going to one of their favorite restaurants that had Wednesday night was chicken fried steak night. I'm pretty sure it was chicken fried steak. That part might not be completely accurate, but it was some sort of special. And I remember driving over there and being like, I don't know. I don't really like chicken. I don't really want to eat chicken fried steak. Is it bad if I order something different? And Jeremy was like, no, totally. Just be you. Do what you want to do. So we get at the restaurant and we were sitting down. I remember it was a circle table and there was probably like 12 to 15 people that were all at this dinner, which is intimidating in itself, right? Like meeting friends and meeting people with whoever you're dating can be so intimidating, and there's such a need to try to fit in. And so we're sitting there and people start going around the circle, and I'm kind of towards the end of the ordering circle, and I kid you not, everybody is like, chicken fried steak, chicken fried steak, chicken fried steak. And I'm sitting there with that panic kind of rising of like, oh my God, I'm going to be so high maintenance if I don't order the chicken fried steak. And I'm going to embarrass Jeremy and blah, blah, blah. And this whole thing's going to be a disaster. And Jeremy was before me in ordering, and I'll never forget, it gets to him and he didn't even skip a beat. And he's like, cheeseburger. I don't remember what he ordered, but he didn't order a chicken fried steak, which is one of his favorite meals, by the way. And we talked about it later in the car, and he's like, well, you had told me, and I know that was probably intimidating, and I didn't want you to feel, I don't know. It was just like, I felt so seen and supported, right? Like in that moment, I didn't even have to like communicate my fear or communicate my needs. Like this person that I'm falling madly in love with just stepped up. And oh my gosh, I don't know that there's anything more sexy or attractive than when a man just like takes the initiative, right? And does what he thinks you need. And is also aware of what you need, right? Like without you saying, like he had put the two things together and put it all together. And it's such a small thing. It's such a small moment. Like I can't tell you a single person that was at this dinner. I can't think of anybody that was there. I can't tell you the name of the restaurant. I don't even know if it was chicken fried steak that was on the special that night. All I know was that Jeremy did that. And it was big. It was big for me. But that was Jeremy in a lot of ways. He just was quiet in the way he showed up for people. Never needed to be a big deal. It just was easy for him to be a good friend. Yeah, and so I just remember we dated and we had our first Christmas together and it was great. And Jeremy and I just fell madly in love. But the thing about Jeremy and I was we were really different people. Jeremy hated school. He was not a good student. He was pretty carefree. The idea of like growing up to him and being in the military, he was like, oh, it'll just all work out. I'll figure it all out. Like, he had not been excited to go to college. He really had gone to college, I think, to appease his parents, which I think it's a lot of kids do that. So, whereas on the other hand, I was a pretty type A, uptight, I'll use the word uptight, and driven person. I was on track to be a nurse. I had decided I wanted to be a nurse. I was excited about this. I studied diligently. I had my whole life planned out ahead of me, right? And I was that person. I also was very much a rule follower. I still really am. It's hard for me to break rules. There are a few that don't count. But when Jeremy and I started dating, I remember we had a conversation at one point about like drinking, because we were both 18 at this time. He had turned 19 actually. His birthday's in November. So he was 19, I was 18. We were still young. We were still underage for drinking. I did not drink in high school. I didn't. I had been very aware of alcohol. Alcohol is kind of an issue in my family, and so I had been very aware of alcohol and didn't want to drink and didn't... I don't know. I needed to be perfect. Like, I joked with my students for a number of years that I am a recovering perfectionist, but there's like a lot of truth to that. I really felt like I needed to be perfect in order to be loved. And I'm sure I'll get into that as I continue telling you stories. But when I met Jeremy, there was a day, I remember we were driving back from his college and together. So and we stopped at a Wendy's to grab lunch. And we're talking, and I was just like, have you ever drank? And he was like, I have. And I was like, no, this perfect specimen of a man is a rule breaker? Oh my God. And then I looked at him dead serious and was like, well, have you ever smoked marijuana or done drugs? Because I'm sure, as you can imagine, if I was anti-drinking, I without a doubt was anti those substances, and marijuana was not legal anywhere at that stage in our lives. Oh my God. And so Jeremy was like, I have a few times. It's not something I do regularly, but I've tried it out. And I remember like sitting straight up and being like, I don't know if I can be with you. It just tickles such a funny bone for me to think of this moment that I was so rigid in my thought process that I was going to walk away from Jeremy because of this. And I remember our conversation continued, and he kind of was like, because of the ROTC stuff, I really don't do any of that anymore. It's too risky to get in trouble, yada, yada, yada. So fast forward. It's January. I remember it was like the end of January, and I had come to the conclusion that it was time for me to try drinking, that maybe I needed to not be quite so uptight and have a little bit more fun in life. So I remember like calling Jeremy and being like, hey, I've been thinking about all this. And he's like, I told you I'm done with all that. And I was like, well, maybe. And he's like, maybe I kind of want to try drinking. And he was like, yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. So he's like, come down to my college town, because my campus was a dry campus and his was not. He's like, come down to my college town. There's parties every weekend with the cadets, and we'll do it together. I'll make sure you're safe, yada, yada. Like, okay, let's do it. So we planned a weekend with my roommate, and then we had a mutual friend, Adam, that he did not at that time go to either of our schools. He was down at the school in Springfield, and Adam was going to meet us also for that weekend just to hang out with us. I think we had probably hung out with Adam over Christmas break, and it had been a lot of fun because I had known Adam from youth group, and he was actually one of Jeremy's best friends. So we all meet in Warrensburg to support my decision to try underage drinking. Kids, it's a bad idea, okay? So we go down, I get all dolled up, and I remember we had talked one of my older sisters into buying us alcohol, so we were well equipped with Boone's Farm. I don't even know if they still make Boone's Farm and Smirnoff and every college teenage girl's dream of alcohol. Anyways, so we go, and his lieutenant, leader for the ROTC, was hosting a house party. And so we went there, and we were drinking, and we were it's first time drinkers too. We got pretty tipsy pretty quick. And then somebody had the great idea for us to hit up one of the bars in downtown Warrensburg on Pine Street. Oh my God. So we get in the bar and it is me, my roommate, and probably like 14 ROTC cadets. We're well outnumbered. And maybe 2 or 3 of these people are of age, but we had gotten into the bar because somebody knew the bouncer, yada, yada. I don't know. So we get in the bar. We go upstairs and we are being dumb. We are being dumb because we're underage drinking. We are being dumb because we are tipsy. We are being dumb for all the reasons. So one of the guys that was of age went to the bar to buy the drinks, and he comes over to pass out the drinks, and it was a vodka Red Bull. And I remember he hands me the vodka Red Bull. And I don't know where Jeremy was. He wasn't right next to me in this moment. I think he had gone to the bathroom or something, but he hands me the vodka Red Bull, puts it in my hand, and I don't even take a drink. I don't even take a drink of it. And a policeman comes up to me and says, "Excuse me, ma'am, can I see your ID?" Shit. I was like, think fast. But remember, I'm pretty tipsy at this point, right? So I look at him and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, officer. I think I left it in my car." And he's like, "Oh, I'm happy to escort you to your car to get it out." And I'm thinking to myself, so I said to him, I was like, okay. So we start walking down it, and I make eye contact with Jeremy at this point, and he is like pure panic in this moment. Because remember, he had told me he'd take care of me and make sure nothing bad happened. And here I am being escorted out of the bar by a policeman. So we get down out of the bar on Pine Street, and the police officer looks at me and he goes, how about you just tell me when your birthday is and we can take it from there. And I am thinking to myself, oh, okay, that's a great idea. Do the math. Do the math really quick, Colleen. Who do you know that's 21? Like a good 21. My mom's 21. My mom can definitely drink. What year was your mom born? God, I think it was like 1950. 1950 my mom was born. Okay, yeah, that'll work. So it's like 5/25, 1955. Because 50 was too old. He'd never believe that I was like that old, right? But 55 made sense. Oh my God. And it came out of my mouth and I immediately knew it. And then the police officer looks at me and he goes, "Ma'am." And I said, "Oh my God, I'm not 21. And he's like, "You think?" And he's like, I'm going to have to take you in." I literally start bawling hysterically, like just hysterically bawling. And all of a sudden, I'm very sober in this moment. So everything is clear as day to me after this moment. And I have on this big old long corduroy jacket with this fur trim. This is, I wanted to see if I could find it because I'm pretty sure I still have it, but I forgot. And all I remember is like wearing this jacket and like being all dolled up, and this policeman literally handcuffing me. It was behind my back, handcuffing me, escorting me across Pine Street with this whole group of people watching me get arrested and put in the cop car. What little Miss Type A that had never even touched an ounce of booze was now being arrested the very first time she ever drank. Oh my God. Keep in mind, I am on track to be a nurse at this point, and I have no idea if this is going to be bad for my nursing license, all the things. It was horrible. So anyways, they book me at the, Warrensburg County Jail, whatever it is. I would pay money to get those mug photos, by the way. I've never seen them, and I would pay money because I am just bawling hysterically. He fingerprints me, he gets an address. At this point, I couldn't even think of my college address. All I could think of was my home address, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm in so much trouble. And then he's like, "Okay, you're free to go." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, it's just, I actually don't know what he said, to be honest." And he's just like, "You're free to go. You can go out that door right there." So I walk out the door. I'm in a back alley of the police station is what it felt like. Thank God Jeremy's lieutenant was literally pulled up right at the point that I was walking out because he knew. So I was booked for a minor in possession of alcohol, which luckily was a minor misdemeanor in this town. It never even went on my record. It doesn't show up, which is fantastic. But so I get in the truck and I'm like, where's Jeremy? And one of the guys is like, he's super worried about you and feels terrible about all of this. And so he's back at the house bonging beers. And I'm like, oh my God. So I don't know, somehow we pick up Jeremy. I'm like just trying to comprehend everything that's happened and like, how am I going to process this? And this is so terrible. And strangely, I was never mad at Jeremy about this. Like truly, I was never like, it was not a blame thing. It's my luck that I was the one in the crowd that got picked. And honestly, in some ways, better me than Jeremy, because Jeremy would have been in a lot more trouble with his ROTC scholarship. Anyway, so we get back, we're in his dorm room, kind of killed the night in some ways. And so we get back and I remember Jeremy and I are in his bathroom brushing our teeth, and he's pretty tipsy. And he's like, you still have to marry me. Oh my God, you have to marry me. I'm looking at him being like, so is this your way of proposing? And we would often joke that this was the first time that Jeremy really proposed. Oh my God. And so, yeah, that's the night I got arrested. Oh my God. So wild. And the thing that I don't know. I remember it just felt heavy and crazy and, scary, right? Again, that fear was coming into play of like, what ifs, and all the things. And, the next day, I actually remember we were all really hungover, and this was my first time eating General Chow's chicken. I had not had a ton of Chinese food growing up, and somebody was like, Chinese food is excellent for a hangover, and we ordered, and Jeremy's favorite was General Chow's chicken, and that's my first time having it. And I'll tell you, on days when I still really miss Jeremy, that's the comfort food I want, is General Chow's chicken. Yeah. And it was interesting because, this speaks a little bit to our parents. I actually don't know if his parents know this story. I mean, I feel like surely they do, but strangely, me getting arrested is not a story I tell everybody. Well, I guess now I do. What? But so, but I had put my little brother on mail duty because I didn't want my parents to find out. I was going to try to handle it without my parents. Well, my brother failed, and my dad saw the court notice or whatever that had been mailed, court summons, I guess, that had been mailed to me. And so my parents found out. And it was interesting because my parents, remember, I had kind of alluded to alcohol being an issue in my family, totally were like, finally, somebody got Colleen to loosen up. And I remember my mom took the day off and took me to court, and Jeremy went to court with me, and I had to do like community service, and that was it. And I shouldn't say that was it. It could have been really bad, right? Like, I'm sure there's a fine associated with it, but it ended up fine. And yeah, it's just a good memory with Jeremy. I can like picture him brushing his teeth and being like, oh my God, you still have to marry me. Oh, it was a good one. It was a good one. But in so many ways, right? Again, that was Jeremy and I's relationship. Jeremy pushing me out of my comfort zone. And I mean, it wouldn't always go right. But being there, we were always there for each other, to support each other through it and to make it happen. And I had been scared to drink because I was worried about bad things happening. And you know what? Something bad did happen, and it ended up fine. And, it takes me back to the whole idea of fear. And I've been thinking a lot this week of like, why is fear so present for me right now? What am I so scared of? And I think a couple things. I think that the older you get, maybe the more power fear has over you for a couple of reasons. Maybe it's because you know how quickly bad things can happen and how out of your control it is, right? I think of gosh, just some of the harder parts in my life that I've gone through, and getting through that. Sometimes you just don't want to go through the pain again, right? And then I think of the fear, and you have more to lose in some ways, right? Like I am the homemaker for my son and I am the stability for him and I financially, and switching careers felt scary, right? And then there's this part of nursing that is truly skill-based that I'm scared. I'm scared that I'm not going to be as good at it as I once was, and all this doubt, right? And then I think of that text, that bravery is truly moving forward despite having fear. And I keep kind of coming back to that and reminding myself that I can be infinitely brave, right? And that's the descriptor that the friend had used at my birthday gathering a couple weeks ago, that I'm infinitely brave. And there's just this piece of me that doesn't feel that way right now, but also when I look through my history, I see it, the moments of being infinitely brave and trusting my faith, right? Like trusting these moments, these God moments when God has been like, this is your next step, follow it. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to. But every time I've really trusted that, it's turned out in big, beautiful ways. And I'm not even going to say the ways that I wanted it to, because if that were the case, I would still be married to Jeremy and probably have 5 kids. But it's turned out the way that it's supposed to. And that's the biggest piece of my trust and bravery, I think, right? Is coming back to that trust. So exciting news in talking about all this, right? Tuesday, I got to go and do a job shadow at one of the hospitals that I had applied for a labor and delivery position with, which labor and delivery is what I did at the very end of my nursing career, and absolutely loved it. I loved it so much. But when Jeremy died, Everett was 7 months old, and one of the biggest things for me to grieve or really let go of, and I mean, it took me a long time, like over 10 years probably, was the idea of having more babies. I never wanted just one. And I could not imagine being in a room as families went through that, when there was a part of me that was so envious of other people's stories that they were getting this opportunity and I wasn't. But I'll tell you, man, acknowledging that part of my grief and the loss of Jeremy was so important, because in acknowledging it, I've been able to heal it. And I don't want to say that it's not still there, but I am at a point right now in my life where, I do not want any more babies. I cannot imagine starting over. I know that there are women my age that have babies, and that is not the case. For me, it is, I have no desire to start over. I'm very content. Everett has been a beautiful part of my story. Everett is my son. And having him, is one of God's most beautiful parts of it, right? And so I'm very content. I am very content with just having one. And I am now excited to be with other families as they go through this moment of having more babies. Or I think I am. I thought I was, right? And then I had been a little scared that maybe I wasn't ready for this, because I don't know. I will say that there's still a part of me that when you play that what if I had more babies? What if Jeremy hadn't died? What if, right? That can be so dangerous, right? And I try to stop that game as soon as my head goes there, because I'm a huge fan of practicing gratitude for what you do have, right? It's been really good for me. So, but there is that doubt, right? Because those moments still happen in my head, and then I have to counteract the what ifs with the gratitude. And it still happens. So I had been a little scared about whether or not I would actually enjoy labor and delivery as much as I thought or think I'm going to. So Tuesday, though, I got to go in and do this job shadow. And you guys, here's the thing about acknowledging fear, is that then in the moments that you come through the storm, right? So I got to go and I got to participate in a C-section. I don't want to say a routine C-section, but it had been planned. It wasn't emergent. It was planned, very necessary though, for the safety of the baby. And so I got to do it though. And man, so many pieces of it. I absolutely loved being here with the family. Like, it was just beautiful. It's beautiful to watch life happen. It's beautiful to watch all the staff come together, the critical thinking, the problem solving, the routineness of a C-section, but the individuality of each case. Like, there's some of that cognitive thinking that I'm so excited to get back to. It was just great. I loved every minute of it, right? Like, and I remembered so much more about it as a nurse than I thought I was going to. Like, I came in, I don't know, there were just absolute pieces to it where I was like, yes, I remember this. Oh, you do this because of that. Yes, it's coming back to me. Like, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. I'm still a little bit scared, but yeah, I think it's going to be fine. And I officially accepted an offer from this hospital to work as a labor and delivery nurse, a night labor and delivery nurse, which will be an adjustment, but I actually could see working really well. So I have a job lined up for the end of the summer. I start in August. Gives me a little bit of time to still enjoy this summer. And I am going to do an online like re-entry crash course about nursing just to help some more, but I'm doing it. I have a job. And the weight that has taken off my shoulders has been phenomenal. It's just been really, really good. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess this week's theme has been a lot about pushing forward even when I don't want to. Getting out of bed and doing the hard things. Like, my house is, I'm looking at my office and I made progress this week, but I still have a ton of work left to do. And maybe that's the piece of it, right? Is that like, I need to start practicing gratitude for the work. Because doing the work gets you to the other side, right? Staying in bed and hiding never gets you to the other side. Sulking and playing the victim and being in a pity party, it never gets you to the other side. You need to acknowledge that there are times when I will sit in a pity party and give myself that time to cry it out and to be sad about it, and then I'm going to move forward. It's about the next step. Anyways, thank you for listening again. I'm excited about where this is going. So much is mentally like coming together about how the story is going to unfold, and I'm excited for that piece. And talking about Jeremy really is fun for me. I miss him so much all the time. It's big, but until next week, I'm going to work on staying classy and choosing love. Thanks, y'all.